friends and enemies. Welcome back to Weekly Allowance, where today we're looking at the Aaahh! Real Monsters 3 figure set exclusive from Mondo. And once again joining me today is Patrick.
I am here too as well, and Toasty is causing chaos in the background.
Yeah, if you hear jingling and general ruckus, that is our cat, Toasty. This will be the second Mondo thing we've ever purchased, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've known of Mondo for forever, being that we're artists in Texas, but yeah, we've never bought anything from Mondo other than a vinyl record very, very recently.
Yep, we got the Over the Garden Wall record, and I will say that came damaged, and they gave us a replacement immediately.
Well, the sleeve was damaged.
Yeah, the sleeve was damaged. Yeah. When we saw that they were coming out with Aaahh! Real Monsters figures, I kind of had to have them because I loved Real Monsters as a child, and I was really surprised. These actually aren't that expensive. This is the deluxe set, so there is the deluxe and then there's the regular 3-figure set. This comes with extra monsters and extra faceplates and swappy parts and stuff, and it was only like $150.
And then they also, well, after we ordered, they had a sale, and they hadn't sold out or anything. So I just emailed them and was like, "Can you kindly give me a discount since I ordered these like a week ago, and now you have a sale?" And they gave me a discount, so that was nice of them.
So that's really cool. Don't have much experience with Mondo, but the experience we do have is good. It's a very large box, as you can see. Pomegranate for scale, winter squash for scale. Here's my arm for scale. It's pretty big, and so that is why it is not in our review space. Last review I said that we'd be doing the next review in the usual spot. I lied. Sorry. But here's the box. It's matte, feels really nice. UPS, was it UPS or USPS?
It was UPS, and that's part of the reason why we're reviewing this, is because they shipped it yesterday and it arrived today because they're in Austin, we're in Dallas.
Yeah, but the box is still a little bit messed up somehow.
Yeah.
Even though it was packed really well and there were like nice like plastic corner protectors on everything, somehow the shipping service still managed to mess it up.
Yeah, UPS still, they obviously set a box right on top of it.
See, it's messed up here, there's a broken there.
They put something pretty heavy on top of it. That's a classic UPS.
So Mondo tried to protect it, but it didn't quite work. I like that they have the people who work on it on the back. 14 plus! If you give this to someone 14 or younger, then they're going to be scared by monsters. That's just how it goes. You've got a nice Mondo holographic sticker to prove it's the real deal. Not a knockoff. I don't know who would bother making Aaahh! Real Monsters knockoffs, honestly, but maybe someone would. As far as I know, this is still in stock, isn't it? The deluxe?
Yeah.
I kind of thought it would go pretty quick, but maybe there's not as much of a market for Aaahh! Real Monsters as I thought. It was a good show.
I don't know. I mean, people seemed excited for the set from what I saw online, but yeah, it's still in stock, and I kind of expected, with Mondo stuff. I mean, obviously this is our first like figure kind of purchase, but I expected it to sell out pretty quick. But no, it's still, this deluxe set is still on their website right now.
So if you're interested, go check it out. It's probably still up there. The deluxe is only limited to 1,000, and that's still up. So I don't understand why, but maybe this is more of a niche thing than I thought. So before I open the box, I just want to point out the people who worked on this. There's going to be more people than this involved in the process, but I'm assuming these are the main people. Great job, guys.
And I believe he was at Designer Con. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think I briefly spoke to him. I think. I'm very bad with names.
I like it when companies put the names of the people involved on their boxes. I think that's really, really cool. So the artists skip their due. So the front of this is actually a separate piece that is Velcro tabbed in, and you open it to reveal your figures, and a really cool illustration of the 3 monsters. There's Crumb, Oblina, and Icus. I don't know, I kind of want to cut this piece out and like frame it or something, but I probably won't do that. As you can see, you can't really see the figures inside because they are well wrapped up, but you can kind of see what's going on in there. But yeah, in order to actually get a good look at those, we're gonna obviously have to open it. And we're not people who keep figures in boxes, so that's okay. I like all the roaches around it. This packaging is just really neat.
It's kind of like the intro for the cartoon.
Yeah, all the roaches skittering around.
Yeah, and they're all really nicely wrapped in there, looks like.
Yep, so hopefully none of them are damaged and they're all in pristine condition. So let's see about that. So as you take the clamshell out, there's also this backdrop. Would you say it looked like a bedroom?
Yeah, it looks like curtains in a bedroom.
It does look like curtains in a bedroom. So it's either, I think, like maybe a kid's bedroom that we see on the show, or it might even be like, I think Ickis sleeps in like an old refrigerator with a curtain across it. It might be that.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen the show, but it was a favorite of mine when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Why don't you tell us about your connection to the cartoon while you take the figures out? If you can concentrate on two different things.
Because I'm struggling on doing one thing. So I don't know when Aaahh! Monsters came out, but it was on Nickelodeon in the 90s at some point. And I think I must have been pretty young, because I really don't remember too much about it.
Yeah, admittedly, like, I think it was the only, I was thinking about it, I think it was the only Nickelodeon cartoon that I really was like a big fan of. I just made sure to always watch it, but there weren't any of the other cartoons that I really liked that much.
I'm seeing something wrong with Ickis.
Uh-oh.
There's like thick paint on his eye right here. And then thin paint right here. So I'm just gonna pull all of these out and set them out, and then we'll unwrap them. All right, so we have Ickis, who is my favorite, by the way. He's just so cute. Here's Oblina, who seems very fragile because she's just literally a stick. And also don't know how well she's gonna stand up. She's okay. Here we have Crumb. Oh, it looks like he's got some wrapping around his removable mouth. He's the heaviest. I mean, obviously, he's very rotund.
Yeah, these aren't vinyls. These are not vinyl figures like, you know, a lot of what Mondo does.
We get an alternate Crumb with his eyes in his mouth. But yeah, they're not. Are they plastic? Or are they resin?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I was gonna say, like, I think even PVC wouldn't be able. They wouldn't be able to cast it solid like this. So I'm not sure what they're. Well, I guess you could, but you'd have to be very careful about it shrinking.
PVC, yeah. PVC and ABS.
If it's injection molded, they'd have to be real careful about the temperatures, because it's not resin, it's not cast resin or anything. So
looking at the accessories clamshell, which I'll show in a minute, they do seem to come with bases. That's really nice. Yeah, they have holes in their feet, so you can plug them into a base. So that's really cool, because I'm especially worried about Oblina falling over. I don't know how fragile these are, but she is a stick. So
well, if they're PET, then they should be pretty strong.
So in addition to the 3 main monsters and the extra Crumb, you get a little baby monster from an episode where they hatch a baby that they're babysitting.
Which we just watched a clip of.
Yeah, we just found a clip of it on YouTube. Pretty cute. And we have Zimbo, who is he's the Grumble's assistant, I think. I actually think he was voiced by Tim Curry.
Yeah, okay.
If I recall right.
I remember that character very well.
He sat on the shoulder of like a really scary giant monster that was there to like punish the students when they did wrong. So Aaahh! Monsters was a show about these 3 young monsters, and they go to school to learn how to scare humans. It's kind of like a Monsters, Inc. situation where they survive on scaring humans.
Just another example of Pixar ripping off another creator.
But yeah, it was a really creative show, and I loved the designs. It was kind of, it was like that Klasky Kupo, like kind of gross animation, but instead of Rugrats where it's people and they just look gross, it's monsters, so it works. But then, I mean, they're all kind of cute in their own way, especially Ickis, who I love so much. I had a Halloween, like a novelization of the Halloween episode with Ickis, and he like trades places with a human. And I read that over and over again. Like a kid on Halloween night goes out in a purple bunny suit and he's mistaken for Ickis.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
So before we look at the extra stuff they come with, let's look at articulation really quick. I don't think there's much to speak of, but we can get a closer look at these and look at what they do. Okay, let's take a look at Ickis first, because he's my favorite. Like I said when I was unboxing him, there's like this weird crease on the eye.
Yeah, I almost wondered if that was a seam line, but I don't think it is, because you can see the seam, faintly see the seam line back here. So I think you're right. I think it might be paint.
It's just a buildup of paint.
Yeah, thick paint. So I don't know. I don't know if it's something worth contacting Mondo about or not.
It's like usually stuff like that doesn't bother me, but these are so simplistic, and also Ickis is my favorite character and the one I was looking forward to the most, so I don't know.
And they weren't cheap.
Yeah, they weren't cheap. I mean, it was less expensive than I would expect, but still, Part of the reason that I wanted these is because they look really faithful to the cartoon, which I'm sure is not easy to do because this is extremely stylized. You've got like the hatching on there. The paint is really nice except for the eyeball, obviously. It looks very flat and clean. Ickis has a very pleasing color palette. And here's his back. You've even got some hatching on the back as well, too as well. For articulation, these don't do much. I think he can turn his head, maybe not even that, a little bit. I really don't want to stress these too hard because I don't know exactly what they can do.
Yeah, the legs pretty clearly swivel, but I don't know, I didn't look at the head.
Okay, the head's just stuck a little bit, it can move.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm sorry that my hands are covering up most of him, but he's oddly proportioned. Got some up and down on the arms, so you can kind of lift those up. And yeah, the legs can turn inward and outward. And if you hear whining, that's just our dog wanting attention. So yeah, pretty limited in what they can do. I'm sure, like, I don't think Crumb can do anything.
No, maybe his armpit hair swivels.
That'd be cool, but very, very cute. I love Ickis so much. So let's look at Crumb next. Once again, very good sculpting. I see a little bit of paint that's missing the sculpt, like
of his body hair.
Yeah, of his body hair right here.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that doesn't bother me as much as Ickis's eye does.
Well, he's got an eye problem too.
He does. Where is it?
Right here, on this eye.
Oh yeah, he's got a crease in his eyeball too. No, if it shows up well on camera. Yeah, he's got a crease as well. Two as well. The reason we keep saying two as well is because we keep hearing people in the world say two as well, which is redundant. Because if you're saying two, you mean as well.
Yeah, I don't know what it's about. It seems to be like a recent trend or a mind virus or something.
Okay, his legs do move, but
I saw that when we were
I don't know how much.
taking him out, yeah.
They're pretty stuck.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Surprised to see that his legs swivel. Yeah, it might be worth heating up. I don't know. But yeah, you can see there's a big old joint down here. But yeah, they just swivel left and right. Just needs to be warmed up or loosened up a little bit.
I mean, aside from some weird eye stuff and some minor paint squabbles, he also looks pretty good. He is very heavy.
Yeah, he's been one big solid chunk.
He's got some back fat. Crumb looks off-putting, but he has a wonderful personality.
Yeah, he was my favorite character.
Yeah,
I liked Crumb.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, he's like if Seth Rogen was reincarnated as a scary monster. I know it might have messed with the aesthetic a little bit, but I do wish that his hands swiveled.
Oh, that would have been good.
I wish his hands swiveled, and I wish there was two different interchangeable hands, because the other ones have like interchangeable parts more than he does. He has a whole separate body, but I wish he had a hand that was holding both of his eyes, and then this hand could be like holding something, some prop or something. That's what I personally wish, because I always liked that when I was a kid. It just amused me that he could hold both of his eyeballs in one hand.
Yeah, it's pretty adorable. Let me look at his alternate self before we move on to Oblina. Here we have his scare face, where he swallows his eyeballs and barfs them out on his tongue. You can see he has two uvulas. Which is a very monstery trait. He looks very happy to be scaring. This one also has articulated, well, I say articulated, kind of articulated legs that are also very stuck. Let's see, is there an eyeball problem on this one? Eyes seem fine on this one.
Yeah, the eyes are perfect on that one. But yeah, I mean, there's a spot there where the arms could have swiveled. Yeah. I don't know. I personally would have liked that a lot, but I mean, I'm not offended that it's not there, but...
Yeah, once again, we've got some paint that's kind of missing the mark in places. I mean, I don't expect perfection. Right, here we have Oblina, who is, well, I say she's a good character. They're all good characters, or at least in my opinion. She was kind of like a know-it-all kind of aggravating character, but is still somehow charming.
I kind of took her as like the voice actress was trying to do like a Katharine Hepburn kind of.
Oh yeah, I can
impression.
see that. I can see that. But I really like her design, even though she's just like a goth candy cane. I don't know, it's just like, speaking as a woman, it was just neat to see a female character that was allowed to be gross, because her whole thing was like she would pull her guts out of her mouth, which is disgusting, and you just didn't really, back in the day, get to see many female characters like just be disgusting.
Yeah. And it also, I have to say, even as a kid, you know, it's kind of noticeable when they have like female monsters, and they still give them like the curvature of a human lady. So it is something to be like, here's a female monster, and she's literally just a stick.
Yep, she's a stick. She does have luscious lips. This design is also very simplistic, but they did it really well. There's like a shine right here, like a simulated shine. There's more hatching all over her. Her eyes look great as well, too. I think her head moves, maybe?
Yeah, I was trying to see from over here.
Yeah, so the head doesn't swivel. It just, like, there's a joint here to take it off and replace it with something else. The arms move.
Yeah.
But with this arm, there's only so much you can do because it's at her side. So that's cool. She looks awesome. I'm gonna lay her down because I'm scared. And then let's look at the other two little extra creatures. Here's the baby. Not much to him.
Baby blob?
Baby Blobbins or something.
Blobbins?
I am kind of surprised they would include like something from just like one episode instead of maybe a recurring character, but I can't think of who else they would include instead of this. So, but yeah, he looks good. I like his mini legs.
It's hard to tell. I mean, there's a seam there, so I don't know if the front legs are supposed to, front arm legs are meant to move or not. So this is definitely just glued in because I can see
Yeah, you can see
the
the
glue right there. Same with back here. So it's definitely just glued in, but I don't see glue around these arms. And he seems hollow.
And for now, lastly for now, Zimbo, who was just the worst. He was such a tattletale. Yeah, but the inclusion of Zimbo makes me hope for the future of like more monsters. I hope they make it Grumble because I love the Grumble. The Grumble was like their headmaster, and he was like a centaur type creature that wore red high heel pumps. Fashion icon. But yep, Zimbo looks pretty good too. I don't think he can do anything. Maybe his leg rotates? I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can see where it's plugged in there, but I don't know. I kind of doubt it, but yeah, it's got a little bit of rubberiness to that. His stubble is pretty well painted.
Yeah, great stubble. In my brain, I realized that he had stubble, but I'm just now realizing that he has stubble. You know what I mean? And it bothers me. It disturbs me. How does something like this shave? I guess that's why he has stubble.
I really like that the cross hatching on his back, like they got the black paint down in the actual sculpt really well. Like they lined it up really well.
There is a bit of a smudge on his cheek, but
Yeah.
that's not,
Yeah,
it's not bad.
I saw a smudge on Crumb too.
That is all our monsters, and now let's look at the extra stuff. All right, so I've pulled the accessories out of their clamshell, but first we wanted to talk a little bit about the articulation or lack thereof on Oblina and Crumb.
Yeah, so I went to go heat these up while Madison was getting the accessories out. And first I want to say her head is very loose. So when you pick her up, be careful about that. Because the head, I picked it up and I was like, oh my God, that head almost fell right off. And then these eyelashes would have snapped right off if they hit the floor. But yeah, the head's a little wobbly. Just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, the legs definitely do not move. This seems like a whole different material down here. It's much harder. So yeah, the legs definitely don't move, which makes sense because that would make it hard to it might make it easier to make her stand, but she does have a stand. So
yeah. So this is one of the accessories. Is like they each come Icus and Oblina come with a stand, and I think the third stand is for Zimbo. That's nice, especially to have a stand for her because she is not super stable.
It's also super important. This stand is super important because that's where they put the copyright information. You cannot miss out on that. You must know these are owned by Viacom.
Viacom, what are they doing?
they're filing copyright strikes on Etsy is what they're doing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
For people who are selling just resin cast sewer lids, which have nothing to do with Ninja Turtles at all. It's purely just a sewer lid, but apparently Viacom owns that.
You can't make a sewer lid without Viacom getting all up in your business.
Anyways, so I heated up Crumb as well to try to get the legs to swivel a little bit better. And I actually learned that that's not the best idea because his ankles, like the material there on his feet, it's so thin that heats up a lot faster than that chunky joint down in here. So I think it's better just to kind of work it loose, just very carefully, move it left and right, move it left and right, move it left and right, until you kind of work it a little bit loose. Either that or get some silicone oil and inject it down in there or something. Heating it up did not really work too well because that just made this part rubbery. And I was afraid of breaking
the paint or something if I
Yeah.
ended up bending it too much.
We don't want to break our boy Crumb. As we touched upon, they come with 3 stands, one for Ickis, one for Oblina, and one for Zimbo. Crumb also gets an alternate mouth. Let's gently pry off his normal mouth. Gently. I will say this is a little bit difficult.
Especially when you're trying to do it in front of the camera.
Yeah, I can't do it one-handed. So the pegs on this mouth aren't as long as his other mouth, so it kind of wants to pop out. But yeah, that's his worried, upset face. His friends often get him into trouble, get themselves into trouble. But yeah, this mouth comes off super easily just because the pegs aren't very long.
Looks like they're trimmed shorter. I mean, they both look like they're trimmed,
Yeah.
like after it was injected, but it's injected in clear plastic too. That must be the ABS.
But I like him when he's happy. I mean, I like Crumb no matter what, but let's make him happy. And then for Ickis, you have 2 extra heads and then some extra arms. So I'm gonna do this gently. Okay.
That wasn't too bad.
Nope. We have a sad head. Well, it might need to be heated up.
Yeah, the neck has got a little, I can't think of what that'd be called, but a little space in there to, so it actually kind of compresses when you're putting the pieces on, which makes sense for the harder material they made these out of, but yeah. I can go heat these up.
Yeah, the heads are gonna have to be heated up before we can attach them. So while the Ickis heads are heating up, let's look at Oblina. So Oblina comes with a bunch of extra stuff. She comes with 2 extra heads, got one with her tongue out and one with her pulling her guts out of her mouth. She comes with 3 extra arms. Well, actually 4 extra arms. It's just that this one is also holding a monster manual. I think that's what they call it.
I don't remember.
But the manual is really well sculpted. It's got an embossed look. Very bright, cartoony colors. It should be easy to replace her heads. I don't think we need to heat her up, hopefully. Let's see. Yeah, that one's pretty easy. I like that look. Now let's look at this one. This one is pretty heavy because of all the guts involved. All right. And of course with this head, you want the scare arms attached. Remember that the white arm goes on this side because that's where the thumb is. The black arm goes on this side. And you'll want to have those arms pretty far back in order to put on this head because the guts kind of get in the way. It's pretty gross.
Yeah, which definitely was like a thing in that time in Nickelodeon with what was the big show that everybody really liked? Oh man, I'm completely drawing a blank. I'm sorry, I even mentioned it now.
I don't know.
It was like the big one that that even had they had new seasons of it in the mid 2000s.
And it was gross?
Yeah, that was like the main thing.
Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ren and Stimpy was never... I kind of hated that show.
All my friends loved it, and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think other than SpongeBob, but that was a much different thing. That was more of a mid-20s college student kind of a thing.
Was it?
For me, it was. I didn't discover SpongeBob until I was in college. And I
remember watching the first episode of SpongeBob. I was on vacation. My family took me to vacation. I was a child, so I wasn't in charge of anything. My family took me on vacation, and me and my cousin watched the very first episode while we were in the Florida Keys. So it was very fitting.
It's quite the tangent.
Sorry.
It's fine.
All right, here's him with his sad head attached. It's so sad. It's so cute.
And I swiveled his arms down.
Yeah. That's adorable. For us, at least, we definitely had to heat up the head to put it on. I really don't want to risk breaking any of these because they are expensive. The way they replicated the 2D into 3D of his eyes was just have a little divot in his eyes. Oh my god, that's too precious. He's so cute. So for Oblina's guts pulling head, it's very, very detailed. A lot of detail in those guts. You've got some like nodules and orifices. But here is another example of them missing the mark with painting. You can see the indents where the paint is supposed to be, and there's paint just outside of it. I mean, I'm the type of person, I guess, where if I don't notice it until I get right up on it, then it's fine. But yeah, this Ickis eye is something I noticed right away, so I don't know what to do about that. That's something that we might have to contact them about. Okay, and here is Ickis with his scare face on. I'm gonna attach the scare hands in a moment, but he also has 2 uvulas. Do all monsters just have 2 uvulas? I don't know, maybe.
I don't know.
These arms in particular are very skinny. Icus in scare mode. I like how they each, at least in this this deluxe version, they each come with their scare mode faces. His special talent is that he's a little guy, but he can get really big. Like, he grows in size, but he can also shrink in size. And he's got an inferiority complex because his dad is like a famous monster, and Icus is trying to follow in his footsteps and failing horribly. But it looks like these ears are articulated as well. Maybe.
I was wondering that. I couldn't really tell for sure.
They keep wanting to go back into place, so maybe they're just rubbery.
Yeah, it might just be that they're rubbery from the heat, but it almost seemed like they might swivel. But I don't know. I don't know if they would swivel or not.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. Because his other normal face doesn't swivel.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, because they look pretty squarely.
Yeah,
pegged
and they're
in
not
there.
round. They're not
Yeah.
where they connect into the head. It's not round. But on the scary face, they are kind of round where they connect into the head. If you can see, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe they're meant to swivel,
Or it's broken.
or we broke it.
But yeah, I'm very happy to have extra Icus heads. Because I don't know if you guys have known this with me talking about him for however long it's been, but he is my favorite. All right, I'm going to get these guys back in neutral mode, and then we're going to do just a few comparisons. All right, we've got our 3 monster students.
And because we don't have any too many real monsters to compare them to, so we don't have like a Henry Kissinger figure or a P. Diddy figure, but we do have NECA's mummy, controversy noted.
So it's still a controversial figure, but not the mummy himself, just his creators.
Correct.
Lone coconut plunderling.
Very Icus-like.
Yeah, very Icus-like. I think they could be buddies.
And then another Nickelodeon classic that I'm not necessarily a fan of, but Madison is.
My favorite Nickelodeon show ever. Invader Zim. Long ago, and some of you who've been watching the channel for a while might actually know this, but long ago I made a very hopeful video about how there were Invader Zim figures on the horizon, and I was very happy. I showed my face in the video. I was excited. Those got canceled. As far as I know, they're never making them. So disregard that. Disregard my hope and my dreams. I do know that the creator of Invader Zim has said that whenever Nickelodeon feels like printing money, they just bring Zim merch out, just like slap it on whatever and sell it because it sells, because it's Invader Zim and it's got a cult following. Other than that, they don't care about it.
I seem to recall seeing a crop top at Hot Topic just a few weeks ago that you said you wanted.
I did want it.
And it was Zim themed, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was Gurr in his green doggy outfit, and I feel like that would date me. Because I come from the era where all the girls were wearing Gurr things without even knowing who Gurr was. At a certain period in the early 2000s, you go into a Hot Topic, it is all green doggy Gurr. And scene kids would wear Gurr all the time without even knowing who he was, and I found that offensive. And honestly, Gurr's not that, don't come at me, but why would you not put Zim on merch? Why is it always Gurr? He's not that great. I mean, he's a cute little robot. Also, his robot form is so cute. Why not the robot form? It's always the doggy form. Anyway, whatever.
How does that scale with your real monsters?
You can't introduce Invader Zim and not expect me to ramble about it. But I think it scales great. You know, it's difficult because it's a statue type thing, but I guess these are kind of too.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the scale is great on these. These actually look really good together. They make a good display together.
Yeah, let's remove these action figures.
Like, yeah, the actual action figures.
Yep.
Yep, some Nickelodeon classics. Very strange, yet creative, off-the-wall stuff. And much beloved to me.
So are you a Mondo head now?
I like these a lot, and I'm glad we got them. Mondo they just don't really make a lot of figures from things that I care about, I guess. Mm-hmm. And they tend to be a lot more pricey than this was. Because this, I thought, was a pretty good deal. You know, it's still expensive, but you got a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say, I don't dislike Mondo at all. I just don't, I'm not on the lookout for their next thing or whatever.
What if they made Zim stuff?
Oh, I'd be all over that. I mean, I have to. I'd have to be.
They pretty clearly have a Nickelodeon license.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to be, because that would be like the only, like, good Zim stuff there would be.
They would do a very good job.
Yeah. I forget who was going to be making the Invader Zim figures. I forget what company, but from what I heard, the reason they ended up canceling that or putting it on hold or whatever is because the limbs are so small. They just couldn't figure out how to engineer them without snapping. So I don't know.
Mondo did it.
Yeah,
They
but
made skinny limbs.
Invader Zim's limbs are a lot skinnier.
Yeah.
I think the right sculptor, the right company could do it. I'm sure Mondo could, but every iteration I've seen of Zim in 3D does not look right. Like, if you've seen some of the video games that Nickelodeon throws him into, he looks wrong in every single one. So, but I think with the right sculptor, they could get it looking like he's not terribly malformed. But we'll see. Yeah, if Mondo did Invader Zim, I'd have to go in.
They could even make Zim's arm just out of that articulated, the metal tubing like stuff.
Yeah.
Like what Mezco is using for their Doc Ock arms. They could even use something like that for Zim's arms.
Jesus Christ.
Our real monster of the household just clawed into our couch and rock climbed up the side of it.
Yeah, she's definitely a gremlin. But yeah, I mean, maybe Mondo should hire you. You should have the Zim project.
Okay. I think I just gave them a free idea, so I don't think they need to hire me.
I'd love you more if you were on a Zim project with Mondo. But yeah, back in the day, Palisades Toys made some Zim stuff, and it's very hard to find now, and it's expensive. And I think the people who actually have those figures, like, the figures have, eventually broken, usually most of them, especially like the Almighty Tallest figures, which I would love to have because they're my favorite characters. But yeah, stuff like that exists. Like I said, if Mondo did Zim, I'd have to.
The one thing that I would have to get from Mondo is that they're doing all these vinyl Ninja Turtles toys off the Playmates designs. After the Varner Studios sculpts, and I'm skipping all of them, but one of my absolute favorites from when I was a kid was Fugitoid, and I loved the coppery looking Fugitoid from Playmates. And if I kept waiting for Super 7 to do it, and they didn't ever do it. So if Mondo did that, and they had his chest open up with all these weapons coming out, yeah, I'd have to get that one.
So Mondo, I know you're watching. I know you're big fans of the channel. Who isn't? Fugitoid and Invader Zim. Those are our requests.
Copper
Fugitoid.
Not silver. Playmates copper.
No substitutions. So yeah, I'm really pleased with these, even though Ix's eye bothers me. We'll see what we do about that. But that's about it for us today.
Who is your favorite real monster, real or imagined? Comment below.
Trying to think of who mine is.
Who your personal real monster is.
Yeah, who's my personal favorite real monster. As always, likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome. And I'll see you guys on the next one, where we might actually be back in the review room.